The night Ethan Ward's life quietly shifted didn't begin with fireworks, fate, or any grand gesture. It began with disappointment. The kind that slips into your chest like a slow, familiar ache. He had ironed his shirt twice, taken longer than usual combing his hair, and even caught himself rehearsing small talk in his car mirror like a schoolboy preparing for his first date. For the first time in years, he had allowed himself to hope, but hope, he learned, could be fragile. The text came just as he stepped toward the restaurant doors. "I'm sorry, I can't make it." No explanation. No second message. Not even a promise to reschedule. Most people would have turned around, gone home, let the night dissolve into another forgettable evening. Ethan tried to do the same. But something in the air felt heavy, almost expectant. The setting sun hovered low on the horizon, golden and soft, like the world was holding its breath. Maybe that's why he walked toward the parking lot instead of his car. Maybe that's why he noticed her. A woman sitting on the pavement beside a navy blue SUV, shoulders trembling, face hidden in her hands. Two small children leaned against her, one silently touching her arm, the other staring at her with fearful eyes. Their clothes were neat but worn, their hope was thin but visible, and in that moment, the kind of moment most people pass by without looking twice, Ethan realized something impossible. He knew her. The woman crying on the pavement was the same woman who had just cancelled their date, Claire Bennett. Fate wasn't subtle that night. It didn't knock. It didn't whisper. It simply placed two broken hearts in the same parking lot, and waited to see what would happen next. The day had already felt strangely heavy for Ethan Ward, though he couldn't explain why. His apartment had been too quiet that morning, the kind of quiet that made the ticking clock sound louder, the kind of quiet that reminded him everything in his life had stayed still for far too long. That he had spent the last few years working, surviving, keeping himself busy, but not really living. Tonight was supposed to be different. A chance to step forward again. A blind date arranged by a friend who insisted he deserved to meet someone kind. That he wasn't expecting perfection, just a spark, just the possibility of not eating dinner alone, but the universe had other plans. When Claire's cancellation message appeared on his screen, he simply stared at it. Not angry, not bitter, just quietly disappointed. He typed a polite reply, deleted it, then slipped his phone into his pocket with a sigh. That he should have walked to his car. That he should have driven home. That he should have forgotten the entire evening. Instead, something tugged at him, something soft, unexplainable. The sun was melting into the horizon when he stepped outside. The warm breeze brushed across his face, carrying with it the mixed sense of asphalt, restaurant food, and early night air. Cars rolled by lazily. Families settled into evening routines. At first glance, the world seemed ordinary. Then he saw her. A woman sitting on the ground near the far end of the parking lot, knees drawn close to her chest, shoulders shaking with quiet, desperate sobs. Two children, one boy, one girl, leaned against her for comfort. The girl clutched a worn stuffed bunny. The boy's small hand rested helplessly on his mother's arm. The sight hit Ethan like a punch to the chest. That he didn't know why he walked toward them. That he didn't think. That he just moved. As he got closer, the fading sunlight revealed her face. Tear-streaked. Exhausted. Beautiful in a way pain sometimes makes a person more human, more real, and familiar. It took him a moment to place her face, but when he did, his breath caught. Claire Bennett, the woman who had cancelled on him just minutes earlier. Recognition flashed in her eyes too, followed immediately by embarrassment. She looked away quickly, wiping her tears, as if ashamed to be seen in her broken moment. Ethan knelt down a respectful distance away. No questions, no assumptions, just presence. Claire tried to apologize, stumbling over her words, but he gently shook his head. You don't have to explain anything. That simple kindness broke something inside her. With trembling breaths, she told him everything. How she had been a single mother for 3 years after her husband walked out, choosing another woman and another life over his own children. How she worked 2 jobs, attended night classes, and stretched herself thin just to keep their world afloat. She had finally agreed to a blind date, her first attempt at moving on, but the babysitter cancelled last minute. She didn't want to show up to a restaurant with 2 children and a tired smile. She didn't want to disappoint him, so she cancelled, and then collapsed under the weight of holding everything together. Ethan listened, not with pity but with admiration so soft it felt like a blanket around her shaking shoulders. Her children warmed to him quickly. Kids always recognized gentle souls before adults did. Lucas handed him a melted chocolate. Emily proudly showed him her butterfly shoes. Ethan laughed softly, and something in the air eased. When he suggested a nearby family-friendly diner instead of the fancy reservation, Claire hesitated. She didn't want to be a burden. But her children's hopeful eyes decided for her. Inside the diner, life felt lighter, bright lights. The smell of fries and fresh bread. Colorful menus that made Emily giggle and Lucas bounce in his seat. Claire watched Ethan interact with her children effortlessly, tying shoelaces, listening to their stories, coloring with them on paper placemats. That he didn't act like a man enduring chaos, that he acted like a man grateful for company. As the minutes slipped into hours, something fragile and warm grew between them. Not romance, not yet, but understanding. Respect. A connection that didn't need to be named. Claire spoke about her fears of raising children alone, her guilt, her loneliness, and the pressures she hid behind a brave face. Ethan shared how he had lost both parents within 2 years, how silence had become a companion he didn't want, and how he longed for a life filled with meaning again. They weren't 2 broken people trying to fix each other, they were 2 human beings letting truth breathe between them. When the night ended, Claire buckled her kids into their car seats. Emily leaned out and pressed a crayon drawing into Ethan's hand, a stick figure family of 4 holding hands under a bright sun. Claire froze, mortified, but Ethan smiled softly, folding the drawing with reverence and tucking it into his shirt pocket like a treasure. Kids see hope before adults do, he whispered, under the dim parking lot light. Claire looked at him with something like disbelief. I didn't expect kindness tonight, she murmured. Not when I had nothing left to give. You've been strong for too long, Ethan replied gently. Tonight, let someone be strong for you. Over the next few weeks, slow magic wove itself into their lives. Ethan showed up every time, for grocery runs, for school art shows, for Emily's clumsy ballet twirls, for Claire's tired evenings when she needed laughter more than anything else. And slowly, Claire realized something breathtaking. This man wasn't temporary. He wasn't performing. He wasn't trying to impress, that he was simply choosing them. One evening, as the kids played nearby and the sky turned lavender, Claire finally asked him why. His answer was simple: because love isn't about timing or perfection, he said. It's about choosing someone even when life is messy. Your kids, they feel like home. And you remind me what hope feels like. Claire's breath caught. She leaned gently into him, letting herself feel something she hadn't felt in years: safety, partnership, a future that didn't terrify her anymore. Sometimes the most beautiful stories begin at the exact moment everything seems to fall apart. Sometimes a cancelled date isn't a failure, it's destiny, quietly rearranging the pieces, so 2 people can find each other exactly when they're needed most.